Hey, so this is session 3 of 5. We are playing Dungeon World. Yeah, I'm running Dungeon World. Haven't done it before. Here we go. Anyway, so we're on the third session of that. We are playing sort of the most undungeon worldy of Dungeon World things, which is a Green Law of Varkith. It is a Dungeon World setting without fronts. Essentially, we have guilds that the players belong to in a strange city. It takes a lot from Perdido Street Station and from Planescape. We're playing that. We have very strange peoples in this world, a whole setup with that. Last session, we went through the guild turns, which is kind of an in-between phase where we saw one of the guilds get attacked by a couple of others. The group interfered with that. We saw some other people seizing territory and various other things going on that are kind of in the background. It's a nice phase. It takes about maybe a half hour to resolve. And provides a lot of backstory that's sitting there, on the table for us. So this time we're going to take up, and we're kind of in medias res, by which I mean we are absolutely in medias res when we come into here. We're going to do a little bit of logistics here, though, beforehand. So Patrick, you mentioned that you're taking that priest move, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
When we get to the sort of level up point.
Yep. And Fam, what are you going to be taking for your level up, you think?
I don't know. I don't know, but I'll figure it out.
Okay, well, the good thing is you don't have to decide yet because you don't get to level up for a little bit.
Yeah. No, you should let me level up. Wait, I don't know. So yes, I'm okay with it.
Turiel, did you hit your level up thing, right?
I did, and
okay.
I think I'm going to take the assistant. I don't know for sure. I'll have to look over it whether I'll have a crystal and assistant. I'll have to come up with a name.
Okay.
And it does something like move around and either assist me with spout lore or assist me with getting out, something like that.
Okay, hang on a second. Ruben is in the chat. Hang on a second. We'll get him in here. That makes sense to me. That sounds good. One of the things is how many charges do you think you have right now? I want to ask a mechanical thing. I think you can have up to 3 charges for your equipment, right?
I think I have 4 charges because of the race that I took, something like that. 3 or 4. I'll have to look.
Yeah, I think it's 3 because I think 3 is the top.
Yeah. Well, okay. I think there is a. I don't think it was a move. Okay.
Okay. Just want to check on that.
Okay.
Can I just ask what I missed?
We were just doing logistics here a little bit. We were checking in with everybody. Obviously, people can't level up quite yet, but I wanted to check in with those who would be popping over what they were thinking about taking.
I already added the level up stuff. I thought we were doing that in between sessions.
No, we'll do that after these scenes here that we're going through right now.
All right. Well, then I didn't get a stat boost, so I'll just pretend I don't have the move that I just took.
Okay, that sounds great to me. All right. So what
actually, there is no, you always get a stat boost with the level up, right?
Yeah, but I didn't get a modifier boost.
Okay.
So it's effectively not there.
Okay, that makes sense. So what I want to do is I'll point you to the guild move sheet if you want to look and see where everybody was, what things happened. I want to frame up where we're at. We know that there's some other things on the table that we'll come to after we get to these scenes. I want to frame where we're at with the 2 pairs, and then I want to check in and make sure that I haven't missed any vital things. So if I recall correctly, Hex and Turiel, you went down this sort of cavernous tunnel that went down into a larger chamber. You found a rival guild there, Atelier Sunny, and we found out that you had interactions with this guild before, and there was some discussion about getting a hold of the bones. Hex realized that there weren't spirits just roaming around here, which was very strange. And it's at that point that the stone crustacean emerged from the wall, as sort of the precursor for some other things, which I'll come back to. But you did make sure to get the other guild sort of together and grouped as an assist for you in that situation. Did I miss any key information before we go into that scene? Hex, Turiel? Nope. Okay.
Other than the fact that doing so cost us a marker.
That's right. Good point. And if you're watching at home, markers are a guild currency. It's pretty cool. All right, so that we know where that is at. On the other hand, our other pair is split a little bit further. And let me start with Sig. Now, Sig, I believe that you were confronted by a couple of these Orkari bakers because you were, in fact, in an Orkari bakery where you had discovered that they were also making some illegal liquor. Essentially, they've got the equivalent of a fantasy meth lab in the back. But you're downstairs for two reasons. One is because you're not as stealthy as other people. But the other one primarily is because you're trying to draw attention to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a conversation about the defend move in between sessions, which I thought was really interesting. And so we'll see how we can kind of, make that work for our play today, if you decide to do that. I do think defend is perfect for grabbing attention and spending those things, and we'll make that, because con is a good strong stat for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this is further. This is going through the unrelenting move for the Templar, which is sort of a modified defend. And I guess the extra thing to point out there is that while I'm drawing all of them to me, it's giving Fam an ongoing +1 to what she's doing.
Good, and thank you for the mechanical reminder. So meanwhile, upstairs, essentially we imagine that we've got this big bakery. We can see the ovens and the heat and the sacks of flour and the big tables covered with rising bread, and we've got, dough vats and all of that kind of thing, and workers around on sort of the upstairs walkway that looks over, like you'd have the evil factory overseer looking down into the factory. We've seen two Orkari. One of them is one of the head bakers here. The other one is Killick. She is an Orkari who is an unpleasant person, and they are part of the worshipful fetchers. They are bounty hunters. They had stolen a ring, a sigil from another guild, effectively, when they took over some territory. And Fam had, against perhaps her better judgment, had agreed to try and get that back. And this Killick had given it to her girlfriend, and they were up there talking when Fam walked in and created a lover's quarrel triangle, and managed to cause a distraction. However, the baker girlfriend flung the ring essentially over the railing down into the bakery below.
Which is not a problem at all.
This is not a problem at all. Well, we'll find out if it's not a problem. Did I miss any crucial pieces of information in that scene for Sig or Fam? Okay. Well, I'm going to flip back, and I'm going to go to our two, to Hex and Turiel down there. So this stone sort of golem thing shaped like a lobster with this great glass claw glove has emerged from the wall. The other foe that was emerging that I didn't quite get to last time, I think you can actually say that since you grabbed these guys as allies, we can have them lock up and hold their attention for the moment. But essentially, there are other smaller stone like lobsters and crabs and things like that, like sea life, that are kind of emerging out like a kind of a wave. And so, at least in the fiction for the moment, Atelier Sonny's group is keeping that held so that it's not a threat actively to you two right now. Giant lobster, what do you want to do, Hex?
I think I'm going. Yeah, I had to take a moment for that. I think I'm going to do what all bards do best, which is I'm going to start prepping Toriel up for whatever she needs to take this damn thing down. I'm looking at rock lobster stew today.
Okay, that seems fair. So let's then go to Turiel's move, and we'll see about your assist. Does that seem right?
It's less the assist and more arcane arts.
Oh, okay. So what do you want to do with the arcane arts then? That's the...
I'm going to give Turiel a +1 d4 damage for now.
Okay.
That's going to be the current effect.
Okay.
So Hexatraw sort of takes out that book of magical forgotten language and starts singing a sort of a war song with it. Well known by the Orcari, but the words are different.
Okay. Yeah, that'll echo in this chamber. It's loud. There's good vibration here. So I can reference another song. So let's have you roll charisma.
Right. Actually, did we get the die roller up?
Copy. There you go.
All right, just a second.
Sure.
Okay, I'm there. Let's roll these die. And that is a 9.
That is a 9. So that will work.
But it'll, I think, draw attention is the deal.
Yeah, it draws unwanted attention. Or your magic reverberates to other targets, affecting them as well. I think it's going to the negative here is it is definitely going to draw attention. Like maybe there were other things, like the larger volume of these things. There might be more of them coming out now that they're hearing the siren song of the bard playing through the stone. So Turiel, what do you want to do?
So I think this thing is definitely malevolent. I'm going to...
Huge pincers.
Yeah.
Massive pincers.
And I see that Hex has definitely come as, is buffing me up, basically.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take my Crystal Shard Amplification Device, which is a strikes out. It is a strikes out in the element of spirit. Good. And I'm going to try to chop off that big pincher with it. This is a physical kind of event. I'm going to step up, try and slice through that side, so kind of the small portion of the arm, and see what happens.
Okay. And is there a particular stat that you roll with those devices?
There is not. However, as an artificer, I can spend a charge to roll with int instead of strength.
Okay, that makes sense. And it wouldn't be volley because this thing is big and kind of in close. It's difficult to maneuver, so I think that's great. Right. So let's have you roll hack and slash, spirit, damage going against this thing.
I rolled a 5.
Okay.
+2 for my int is going to be a 7.
All right. So you are going to deal damage.
Right.
And what kind of damage is it that you deal to it?
So this would be like the element of spirit.
Mm-hmm. And how much?
But it would be a D8 plus the D4.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
It's going to be 7 points.
That's hefty. That hits this thing hard. It shakes it. Mind you, now I'm going to roll a D8 plus 1. I'm going to grab this green one for the damage that you get. So you're going to take 8 points.
Okay.
So I imagine when you do that and it hits this thing, I mean, it hard. What's the sort of effect look like?
So I think what it does this thing have a spirit, by the way?
It does. It's partially. It's got essentially. It's made up of spirits that it's eaten and processed.
Okay, so what this looks like is I actually take this crystalline-looking sword thing and I swipe it through where the claw forms. Kind of a joint area, and what you see is it passes through the rock easily, but it doesn't really do damage. But you see this trail of spirit coming out of where that joint is, as if, and they've been kind of severed and torn apart.
So that seems perfect to me, and I assume that the song is probably resonating again across that crystal sword. We've got that sort of vibration thing, but then its pincer, that one of those big pincers, smashes into you and sends you flying, and that's a pretty heavy hit there.
Yeah.
So let's cut.
By the way,
yes.
Thank you very much, Hexatroth. The bard damage was more than the real damage. So the resonation of the song helped quite a bit with the dispersion of the spirit. Yeah.
Let's cut over to Fam.
Yeah, that's fine. I've got a tail that helps with balance and landing.
Okay, and Killick is doing that thing where she is turning to you, and you see hand is going to sword because she knows who you are, and you've embarrassed her, and now her girlfriend is furious. So tell me what you want to do.
Oh, I just want to get that ring and then run as fast as I can, as far as I can, away.
Okay, so I think the first part of this is actually going to be defying danger. Because we do have an imminent threat from her taking a swing at you as you jump over downstairs. Does that seem fair?
That is very fair. I am double checking my stuff. So am I using any of my animal features here to defy danger?
Oh, so tell me what animal feature you're using to defy this danger.
Well, is it the danger of being cut or falling? Because if it's falling,
I think it's more that it's the swing. You're a cat girl. You're going to land on your feet. It's more the swing that this Orcari bounty hunter is going to take at you.
Yeah, I don't think I could really easily justify that one though. So I don't think I get a +1 on that one. Good. So then I will go ahead and roll. I do have the +1 though, luckily, from my good friend.
Absolutely do.
All right. And that is with Dex, defying danger with Dex?
Yes.
Cool. So I have a total of +3. Use my fugly old purple D6s. Here we go. That's the snakeness.
So you're gonna the Orcari's blow is going to strike you. The good news is you get to mark XP.
Yep. Yay.
And as you go by, the Orcari's blade is going to glance across for 5 points. Minus your armor.
Yipe. Ouch.
And I think you land, and you'll see the table where the ring must have landed, but you'll see all of these rising loaves, soft rising loaves, and you're not sure which loaf the ring fell into. Fair?
Fair.
All right. So we've got these two battle bakers that are dealing with you, Sig, that you've kind of pushed back. They've kind of gone on it. And I will say that sort of over their shoulders, you can see Fam leap off of that upper railing and land, on the floor of the bakery. What do you want to do?
I am so as they were starting their sort of assault on me last time, I had described like slowly reaching around and bringing my shield forward and just sort of standing up and acting as if all of this was nothing. So I'm continuing that. I'm trying to draw as many of the like dangerous looking Orcari to me as I can.
Okay.
And yeah, I think as I stand up, I'll just slowly start sort of preaching, proselytizing to them that it's good that they give in to their baser instincts and explore the expressions of their emotions, but it's also good that they learn the futility of all of their actions against the coming of the abyssal gods and their servants, how their strength and their weapons and the tactics that they've used in the past are as nothing and will glance off of these great gods. But there is great magic and mutation to be earned from following the abyssal gods. There are extra abilities and genetic gifts that can be further bestowed upon the Orcari.
And they'll hear that in between the sounds of the rolling pins bouncing off your armor. Now, let me ask you this. How do you think we ought to do this? Is your intent here to draw the other Orcari bakers on the floor over so that they don't interfere with Fam? Because it looks like the bakers are pretty much split between Orcari and then Felogrith, who are essentially the laborers here. Or do you want to do something else?
Yes, I definitely want to draw them to me.
Okay.
It's yeah. I don't know how this could go. I've got there's defend. I've got implacable faith with the preaching. If any of them actually listen, I think either one could be used to draw people off of Fam, but it'd be where you think they're responding.
Yeah, let's do the implacable faith. And
Okay.
I will say one hold to keep these two, on you and kind of ineffectual, and another hold to get the attention of the Orcari on the floor. That seemed like a fair kind of cost assessment. Okay. So let's have you roll.
Okay. So that's wisdom. I have a +2. That's nice. Oh, jeez. That is also a 5.
So the good news is you get to mark XP.
Oh, goody.
The bad news is that the Orcari on the floor are still focused on Fam, and these Orcari do they're going to deal a D6 damage to you, and B, they actually knock you down to the ground. Essentially, just the sheer kind of weight of them knocks you down, and essentially one of these, a big vats they have of eggs that they've broken kind of comes pouring out onto you, and you're kind of covered with that eggy goo right now, kind of swamped and buried. It kind of gets in your mouth and into your tentacles, and it gets into your gills, and you're covered with horrible eggs. And imagine, of course, this is a fantasy world, so these eggs do not look like normal eggs, and there are all kinds of eggs here. So it's a patchwork omelet goo that is on you at this moment.
So yeah, I think Sig is giving this like beautiful and eloquent treatise on how the state of their souls could be mutated and morphed into the apocalyptic future, but it's like buried under a lot of Orcari flesh, and then it gets sort of slurpy as eggs get in everywhere. I think maybe only one of the two Orcari hears any of it, and he really does. He's not a spiritual person. He's not buying in without a pamphlet at the very least.
I should roll your damage, shouldn't I?
If you want to, I did. I got a 2.
If you did, then take that. I'm fine with that. That's it. So, Fam, you will see your assistant get knocked over, and you'll see that thing tip over onto Sig, and you'll see some of these Orcari on the floor. We'll come back to you in just 1 second. Meanwhile, so this rock lobster is just horribly injured. Behind you, Atelier Sunny and her crew, they are swinging blades, staves. There are a couple of people who are kind of hiding behind, but you will see that Sunny is throwing like alchemicals at these smaller things and disintegrating them. They're still coming though, but they've got their attention. They've got them held right now. So let me come back to you, Hex. What do you want to do?
So Hexatron sees Turiel and the rock lobster exchange blows, and he sees Turiel get knocked back. He starts ending the song a little short at one of its climactic sort of midways, and starts up another song about a second wind as the Orcari gets up to fight a great beast that is one of the many, I would say, one of the former gods of dragons.
Ooh, okay. Doing
and this
arcane
is going,
art,
yeah, and this time it's going to be to heal 1d8.
Ooh, very nice. Let's have you roll.
That is once again a 9.
That is a 9. You can roll a d8 and heal up Turiel with that.
Let's see, is this a d8? Is this a d8? I'm just gonna roll. I think this is a d8. Yep. No, that was a d10. No, wait, that was a d12. What the
So which are you rolling, the greens or the yellows?
I'm rolling the yellows. Which one is a d8?
The d8 is the one in the middle of the
I found it. I just had to hover my mouse over it. Okay. Let's try this again. 4.
4? That's not bad. 4 points is significant. And is this purely a morale effect, or do we see some corona nimbus of your magic?
The magic is imbued with, well, I'm sorry. The song is imbued with magic, so it would indeed have a healing effect.
Okay.
So you see some of the wounds that the gouge that the lobster made in like around here sort of lessen to a point where it's more of a significant, cut than it is just like a gouge.
Awesome. And I imagine that if we're doing any kind of visual, it's probably like that heat blur effect of the song in the air to represent that. So you've done that. You're out of danger right now because it is focused on Turiel because Turiel hit it, and so it is rolling forward up to Turiel. Turiel, what do you want to do?
Was that the 9 consequence thing that's rolling up to her?
Oh, I think it's just moving. I mean, that's the general fiction right now.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah.
So what Turiel's going to do is Turiel's going to kick off from the ground and move up. And then, so basically this is using the boots that I have that allow me to hover.
Uh-huh.
So I'm just going to move up, and then I'm going to turn them off and strike down again with that same sword, trying to enter the shell from above.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then let's have you roll hack and slash.
Okay. And I will spend a charge to roll with int.
Okay.
And that is a 7 plus 2 is a 9.
That's a 9. Okay, so go ahead and roll your damage.
Okay. One mighty point of damage.
So this thing is pretty tough. And when you do kind of swing that down, I mean, it kind of goes through, but it's got some resilience to it. You're able to deal the damage because you've got this spirit blade, but it is pretty strong. And I think between that sort of crackling energy of spirit and the song that's resonating out, you too will see that now there's kind of a wave of these other rock crustaceans pouring in. And you will hear Attila Sunny go, I'm not sure we can hold all of these. And they don't say they're going to run, but they're definitely getting seriously worried because all of this magic in here seems to be drawing more attention. Does that seem fair? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's cut back. Should I do Sig or Fam first? Who do we want to resolve first? Hearing none, we'll continue with our standard order. Fam, you land.
Fam is still thinking about the idea of Siglik being their assistant. It's so fascinating. Just the idea of the tentacles moving papers around, filing for Fam. Exactly that kind of noise that the Siglik does while doing all the work. Yes, it's great.
A certified public Templar. Okay.
Yes, 100% that. Yeah, Fam is going to. How would I?
So the immediate threats. Yeah. There are Orcari on the floor who are probably going to come in on you.
That's fine. That's fine.
Felix gonna start running down the stairs to get at you.
Sure. She's slow.
And there's a bunch of loaves, and you're not sure which one has the ring.
Yeah, that's the problem I need to deal with. The other thing,
when I say loaves, I mean it's sticky, gooey, rising dough loaves.
That fur of yours isn't going to last too long.
Yes.
No, it's not. It's really not. But I've got to. These loaves, if they are burnt, they turn hard. Where can I? They have to be on a tray. There's a way to move them.
They've got one of those wooden pallet things with the lift on it. You know, like a pizza slider.
There you go. I'm gonna lift up as many of the loaves in the general vicinity where I know that the ring fell.
Okay.
Running it towards one of the ovens to shove them in and let them burn up while I dance out of the way of these Orcari, which are not that big a deal. That's fine.
That seems like I'm gonna have you describe the scene after we see your defy danger.
Okay, great. Am I still acting with the help? I think, yes.
He said +1 ongoing.
All right. I love that so much.
Can I make a silly suggestion myself?
Okay.
Sure.
Can you might be able to get a +1 to defy danger by using your tail to grab some of the loaves as well.
Ooh.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Just wrap it around some of the loaves and carry it with you.
Yeah. You can. I like the animal feature. We haven't had a chance to really use that. So if you want to bring that in, but let's see the roll, Rich, because you can get some more XP.
Shush. All right. Reroll selected means reroll selected. Thank you. I rolled a 6, but I've got a +2 from Dex. I've got a +1 ongoing, and I used my annual feature. So that is a 10. I defied all the dangers.
Describe to me what that looks like as these Orcari bakers are shouting at you. There are various undead Felogrith, carrying flour sacks and things around in here. Tables. There's the big, massive bakery ovens. What do we see?
Oh, I think Fam grabs a hat and throws it on her head, one of the floppy chef hats, in hopes of blending in. Then grabs the pallet up in both of her paws and sees there's a couple over, snags them with her tail, and then runs with it up like this. So she actually passes by a couple of the bakers that are not paying attention, and then just tosses it into an open, like one of those kind of Spanish door style open oven things, and it skitters in, and then she whips around, and the loves bounce in. They come off of her tail, and now she's got goopy stuff on her tail, but she drops down to all fours, and the tail is like twitching back and forth as she looks and sees Killick coming down after her, but she's ready to go
and shouting, "Get her! Get her!" So that's echoing through here, but probably not able to hear over the chaos on the floor there. So we'll come back to that. But Killick is moving downstairs to become a danger. So Sig, that did not go exactly how you planned it.
Ah, you say that, but that's because you don't have faith in the ways of the deep gods. You see, in the midst of this, like, psychedelic, multicolored swirl of horrible fantasy eggs everywhere, and these sort of lumps, shapeless underneath it, comes rising up to the top, the sort of shape of Sig's hat, dripping and sort of droopy a little bit, but his tentacles go flying out as he gives a great yell. And, of course, being from the horrible depths, am a creature of water and slime and slipperiness. And so this is totally in my element, unlike these stupid Orcari. So
Okay.
I'm doing some very majestic and not at all ridiculous looking egg wrestling with the two of them to try and well, I guess honestly, they're there, and I'm covered in egg. I don't know if I notice a lot about what's going on with Fam right at the moment.
Say no.
So yeah, we'll just maybe try and get a success on these two jerks first.
So we're kind of taking them out. We're going to hack and slash to take these orc bakers out.
I think so.
Okay. And you can certainly say non-lethal.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think I'm pulling out my sword. I think it's still the shield. I'm just using the advantage of them being on the floor and me being slightly kneeling to beat them with it.
Okay. Well, then let's have you roll hack and slash.
All right. That's a 10.
Look at that. You deal damage and avoid their attack. So do you want to take damage and roll an extra d6 or just deal your damage?
I will take their damage and take the extra. Of course not. I'm sure they're weaklings. They're wimp Orcari. Only as strong as a small VW. Holy shit, that's 12 though.
So describe to me what that looks like when you absolutely clean the clocks of these Orcari. Rise up like out of the sea of eggs, like
got the mouth tentacles sort of screaming and going wild and flinging egg everywhere as I bring up this big solid eggy shield and just bash it down on any lump that tries to rise up for a couple of minutes until, like, in the midst of this whole psychedelic swirl, what do you think? Orcari have blue blood?
Yeah.
So yeah, in the midst of this swirl, there's like this
dark neon green. It's so crazy, colorful.
Oh yeah,
love it. So this like solid neon toxic green starts like swirling through the mess of all the other colors.
I will say that 10 plus. That seems good. So I think if you want, you can draw the attention of Killick as he sees this maybe as a bigger threat. Does that seem reasonable?
Yes, the weirdly colored eggy horror rising up and screaming over the mounds of his former guards / bakers.
Like this is a bounty hunter. He knows how to do threat assessment. He expects the Orcari bakers are probably going to grab Fam. So he is definitely changing his direction over to do that.
All right. And damage back?
You did the extra d6, so yeah, roll a d6 for damage.
All right. That's 4, so that's another 2.
So they get a little battered there.
fine. I'm fine.
it?
It's great.
Battered?
Oh, no, you must be stopped.
That's Rich. That's Rich's influence on me right there.
You're my puppet.
So we're going to cut back over. We've got the rising tide, of stone crustaceans. We've got this big thing that is pretty badly wounded, but not down yet. That is kind of up in the face. A portion of that mob is being held off by the other guild right now. What do you think you'd like to do, Hex?
Well, within the context of the song, the warrior just got a second wind, and now what's going to happen in the song is that the Orkari is sort of cutting off the claws of the dragon, and it's sort of going to be a boost to damage. And in the middle of the song, he's going to tell all the other guild to sort of continue fighting, but back your way towards the middle of the room where the ropes are.
Okay, yeah, that seems fair. I mean, you can certainly weave that message into the song.
And and also Turiel should know that it should be no coincidence that Hexatrol chose a song about cutting the claws off the beast.
Yeah, I'm going to say what's at risk right now for you is that the other portion of this wave has made it up to you. So there is right now kind of a risk of some damage.
Okay, understood.
Okay.
I rolled a 7 3 times in a row.
That you have.
You know.
Well, we can generate 2 more dice for you. Just don't clear those dice because they're the old style ones.
Do not clear.
I'm not.
You can just submit and grab a couple more ones.
No,
it's like throwing them across the room.
Should I just take the? I think I'll take the 7. The thing is, like, other people have rolled in between me, so it's not like it's been 3 times in a row.
Right. So what?
It's just ridiculous luck.
Ridiculous luck. So I think right now, you're going to take a D4 damage. I think that's sort of incidental damage from these things, but your spell is going to go off. Does that seem like a fair exchange?
That's actually more than enough in terms of fair, because I'm giving my friend a D4 damage forward, and I'm taking D4 damage.
Okay.
But honestly, that is pretty generous.
I'm going to roll this D4 here then.
Okay.
3 points.
All right.
And we cut from that song echoing. Atelier Sunny is falling back. You know, you still see her, and she's now desperately getting to the sort of the last of her unguents and things, and throwing those at the lobsters even as they are falling back. Her warrior is swinging his sword, but this is not what he was trained to fight.
Right.
And he's like, I don't want to fight these things. So let's come to you, Turiel.
Was anyone trained to fight these things?
Well, no, but you know what I mean.
So I think Turiel, kind of being on top and seeing the ineffective damage that she's done so far, is going to flip over back where that previous wound was and take this crystalline sword and slide it in between the crystal claw and where the base of the rock is, and start prying at it. So this is another hack and slash.
Okay, that seems like a perfect way to do that.
And I'll spend my last charge to do that with int. And I got an 8 plus 2 is 10.
All right. So you can deal your damage in a void attack, or take damage and roll an additional d6.
I will take damage and roll an additional d6.
All right.
Thank you for reminding me.
So that's d6, d4 plus your standard damage.
Right. And that is 13 points of damage.
So tell me what that looks like as you slay the rock lobster.
So I think what happens is literally this crystalline sword, again, doesn't affect the rock, but slides in between the rock and that crystalline claw thing that we saw before. Mm-hmm. And she gives it a good twist and forces, it's almost like a lever where that crystalline claw kind of comes off of where it joins the rock, and the rock collapses around.
Okay. So I'm going to roll this green D8 for the damage that you take. So that's going to be 4 points of damage.
Okay.
So not that much. And I think what it is that the other claw, even as you're doing that, kind of comes up and kind of smashes you a bit, more disrupting your matrix than it is hitting real strong physicality. And that you do break that, glass claw off. The little things are still coming. You're kind of hoping that maybe that would take care of them, but they seem to be, like maybe they're headed for that glass claw. Like maybe they might swarm up and try and reform another one of these things.
Okay.
Yeah, grab the glass claw and we're splitting.
Yeah, we'll come to that on the next round. That'll be a good defy danger.
So I assume that with this physical hit, both of the hits, my armor would apply. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
It'll apply unless it'll always apply unless I say piercing.
Thank you.
All right, Fam, you'll smell. Oh, what a good smell! I mean, smell the baking bread. That's such a good smell there. And you put it in like the hottest oven, so you see this bread actually shouldn't have been put in this oven, so it is kind of starting to burn quickly. What do you want to do?
Yeah, I think it's going to burn pretty quickly. That's exactly what I want. So I'm going to try to lead Kikri and the Okari on a merry chase, but not actually leave the main level. So I'm just going to be running and ducking under tables and then wall climbing a little parkour action. Fam is just going to create like monkey foo craziness.
All right. So what I'll say is this round is a defy danger, and then next round is going to be a chance to spot the ring. How does that sound?
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Okay. So let's have you roll. That sounds like dexterity defy danger.
I know. I just keep hitting that little pellet bar to get all the food. I don't think the animal features exactly apply here, so I'll still take the +1 ongoing. I got a +3 on the roll. And I failed.
And you failed.
I did. I rolled a 3, and +3 is a 6. So I'll go ahead and mark that XP.
Okay. So here is the thing, because you're kind of parkouring across all of these things, right? And as you're going around, you're going to get essentially a couple of these people are throwing things, loaves of bread, rolling pins, that kind of thing. And I think there is that moment when you hit one of these like counters where they put the flour out to kind of roll it out and stuff. And it's much slipperier than you think it would be because they've actually got some oil on there. And I think that's the point at which you go into one of these mixing bowls.
That's never coming out.
So you're going to take a D6 damage, which I'm going to roll the first of these green ones for you.
What? You're in a PBTA game. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, you can actually roll your damage.
All right. 1d6, you say?
1d6.
All right. Well, this one's been rolling crappy, so let's roll a 6 now.
Okay.
That would be another 2.
Okay, so that's 2 points. But you also go sort of butt first into this yeasty, messy, sticky dough. It's essentially one of those big bowls. The Felgrith have been, working at it with these great big wooden paddles, and you've kind of landed down in that. And it is really sticky, like you've never quite felt this level of goo. So Sig, this you probably see. You see Fam go into the mixing bowl.
I mean, I don't giggle. That would be undignified.
But there is this Killick who you recognize as an Arkari bounty hunter who's a serious foe approaching your position.
What do we know about this bakery guild and or their clients?
Well, you know, it's a bakery. It's a standard. I don't think you did much in the way of investigation, but you know, they supply around to the neighborhood. The only sort of outstanding detail is the whole sort of platonic beer lab that they've got set up there.
Oh yeah. Can I maybe do a spout lore or something?
Sure,
I'm
absolutely.
looking for an economic lever I can push on this guy, because in my time preaching to a city of people that do not care about what I'm preaching about, I have learned that money makes people listen more.
Let's have you roll int.
It's an 8.
That's an 8. So here's the thing that you will realize is this isn't Killick's guild. This is his girlfriend's guild. And you are making a mess in it. Does that seem like interesting info to reinforce?
Yeah. I think as I look around, I'll be talking towards Killick because I want to keep my eye on the dangerous guy approaching me, but my voice is sort of pitched and thrown so that it gets up to that balcony where the girlfriend is still, I'm imagining, like watching in dismay or whatever.
Yes.
And what were you gonna say?
Okay, yeah, I kind of see. So it sounds to me like the spout lore they did is to kind of get you that angle, get you that leverage that you want to change the situation.
Mm-hmm.
So we can roll that if you want. What do you want to roll?
I'm going for potentially I am the law, as I begin talking about how unfortunate it would be if all of the abyssal churches were to turn their communion bread sort of orders to other people, or if I were to spread to the holy community in general, what sort of shady things go on here. And also, I'm pretty sure there are at least 3 churches that specifically ban any contact of their bread with unholy familiar spirit beings, which is, that's 4 vats now that she's stepped in. Do you want me to call the inspectors in on this place?
Let's see you roll charisma.
I thought you were going to mention the fact that half corpses were making bread.
Well, they've got gloves.
This is Varkith, and I'm not racist. Let's see. That's a 10. So on a hit, they choose 1. Do what I say, which would be let me and my friend back out of here slowly. Back away cautiously and flee. I'm not sure about that. Attack me, possible. But I get a +1 forward on whatever they choose.
I think what you will hear is, everybody stand down. And this Orkari voice just kind of echoes across there, you know, and she's got a hold of the railing and she is leaning over. You know, Orkari have blue skin, but now it's that kind of dark blue of just pure Orkari rage right now. And Killick is coming up on you like she is gonna cut you down, and that sword kind of hangs in the air because she knows that tone of voice, and she kind of stops there. And the various Orkari who have their rolling pins up, ready to just absolutely crown Fam, kind of stop, and all you hear is sort of the sound of the fire as those bread loaves kind of crackle from the heat over there, kind of burst. And it gets real quiet here. We'll come back to you guys in just a second. So let's come over to Hex. How do you want to handle this situation?
So, considering Turiel just cut off the arm, I'm assuming that Turiel is in the best position to grab it.
Could be.
If not, I'll try and do it myself.
Is a creature of the ether.
Can I do something?
Sure. We could do order here. You know, you guys can decide. So
yeah, if you don't mind. So I think what we see on screen is we see our friend, the alchemist, throw like a bottle up in the air, and all these alchemical things, and these are like grenade kind of things. And I think Turo pushes off and grabs one of these in mid-arc, shoves a crystal into it, and throws it down in the middle of where we are.
Okay.
And what I'm looking for is this is jury rig.
Okay.
And I roll plus int. And what I want to do is I want to use this area of effect kind of alchemical thing to spread out the effect of the crystal, which will be a hover, and allow us all, like my boots do. And this will allow us all to kind of get up the ropes quicker. So
that seems fair to me.
So let me roll to see what this looks like. And I think you see this look of horrified, surprise on the alchemist's face whenever what a bomb or whatever it was is coming back at them. Oh, and I rolled a 5 plus 2 for my int is 7.
All right.
Rape it by.
What do you want as the 7 to 9 effect on that jury rig then?
I like it works, but there's a weird quirk or complication to it.
Okay, how about this? That it does work, but your hover boots are kind of set so they have an angle to them, like they go down. I think what will happen is as everyone starts to rise, they are spinning. Essentially, they start spinning in the air, rising up.
Okay.
Does that seem fair?
Yeah.
Okay. So Hexatroth, you all start rising up. You want to try and get that glass?
Yeah, I'm going to make a dash for the glass pincer or whatever.
That sounds like defy danger to get a hold of it. Dexterity seem appropriate?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, that's a 10.
Look at that. So you get a hold of it, and it is big and heavy, but you will grab onto it even as these things kind of rush forward and they're trying to overwhelm it, kind of pull, kind of shake it off as the group kind of rises up slowly. And you will see that as this claw gets further away from these things, they're slowing down. Like that clearly is part of what's animating them. Distance seems to be reducing their effectiveness. By the time you guys are halfway up the tunnel, you'll see it's like a big weird sculpture of stone crustaceans down there at the bottom. I'm going to cut to the other group. She says, "Get your ring and get out of here."
Thank you.
Start slowly backing up.
That's the sound of you getting out of the dough.
Yes, that reads. Yeah, I'm going to go grab a knife and a big honking glove and go cut into all the loaves, and I'll leave some money.
Okay,
fam. Do you feel like this is the best time for stealing their baked goods? Perhaps maybe we just take the ring and leave, like the nice lady said. You have the ring, right?
The ring is in the goods. The ring is the goods. I'm going to pay for them. I'm going to pay for them.
Wait, you're going to pay for those? They're all burnt and terrible looking. Why would you pay for something like that?
They smell really great, and I have to cut them up.
Enough chatter, leave!
Oh, yeah, there it is. It opens up, but it's not like you're like, these loaves are not. They're like burnt crust on the outside and raw dough on the inside.
Oh, the raw dough on the inside is awesome.
Kind of pull that ring out. It's a little hot, but get that glove on, and you two can start to back out. They watch you.
You can't eat that if it's not fully baked. It'll make you sick.
Sig, she's eating and taking the ring. What do we see of you as you kind of back out of this scene?
I think it's just the still shield up, slowly stepping back step by step, and everyone is just squish, squish, squish as I leave this like multicolored footprint trail walking backwards.
Perfect. So the two of you will make your escape. We've seen the others float up out of the tunnel. This seems like a good time to take a 5-minute break, and when we come back, we'll bring the two halves together to talk about what success you had. Sound good?
Such successes.
Yes. 5 minutes.
Thank you.
I just want to congratulate you guys on so thoroughly ruining that guild's day. I had just been doing a session where I turned someone's men and camels into eldritch horrors, and I'm thoroughly impressed that I have been one-upped. So congratulations on that.
Well, I mean, it's always nice to be like super badass and competent and pull everything off with flair. But if not, try and make everything as unpleasant for everyone as you can.
I like that. It's a good way to live by.
And now when we come back, we'll assume that that recovery has been done and people have done their level up then at that point.
Are we going to come back in on a different day?
What do you think?
I just asked because of my dreams move.
Oh, I see. I see. Is that per session or is it per day?
It's when you make camp or rest, either one.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think we will do that move.
Cool.
I think we should also have a scene where everyone comes back.
Oh yeah, I think what we'll do is the fictional bee will assume that that you guys can do your level up. That we have the scene with all of you coming back in your various tattered states, so you can convo about that, and then we take the recovery move
into it.
So we discussed the meeting room before with the pillows and such, and the four of you were there. So what is your debriefing like, Fam and Sig? How do you explain? Don't have to do the full story, but what is your pitch about why you look like this?
Well, I think first of all, who are our guild NPCs?
Well, certainly you've got the turtle, Lonsdale.
But I am on video, so be careful.
And Molly.
Molly, she's the Isku, right? Yes.
Yes. Well, and you also have the bugbear.
Yes. I think as Fam and I have come back, Molly starts freaking out about all of the artifacts that we have, and what we're covered in could be like disease-ridden and awful. So I think there's very particularly like a corner of the pillowy meeting room that she's just spread like tarps and oilcloths down and given us orders that the two of us aren't to step off of that area.
And she's probably gathered together some of the tokens that you have for the bathhouse that's in your neighborhood to go down to afterwards.
But yeah, I think standing there, us dripping, the other two smelling like whatever a fight with a rock lobster smells like. I think Sig just stands there and he's looking off sort of wistfully and says, "You know, it's been forever since I had a good lobster roll. I don't know why that came to me. And yes.
I like lobster.
After what happened today, I'm probably not going to be eating a lobster for a very long time.
Oh, let me tell you, you don't want to know what goes on inside of a bakery. It's filthy."
Yeah, Hexatross just looks at you and looks at Sam and is like, "Please, you know what? Explain later. I have no words right now. I'm going to need to gather my composure here. But is this really... You know, in my day, rings used to be easier to get."
Well, there was this whole engagement scenario. Fam was the other woman. It was very complicated.
as you just like start explaining, he just like slowly, his hand just rises to his forehead, like he's just getting a migraine just hearing about it.
Fam.
I got the ring.
See? Drip. We got the ring. Drip, drip.
I imagine that at this point you probably look like you've been treated with an egg wash.
It's slightly scrambled in a couple places from walking through the sun.
So you have this ring that is the sigil there, and from the frict and silver, or sliver, however we say it, and you also
Silver.
have this.
It's sliver.
This great, a great glass, essentially lobster claw.
So I think Turiel comes in and has been carrying the claw once they got out, and I think thumps it kind of like on a coffee table. It makes a big noise, and looks over at Fam and says, "What do you think this is?" And then turns to Hexatroth and says, "So, where do you think this came from? I think you described your dream that you saw this in the last session. Is that right?"
Sig did.
Sig did? Oh, Sig saw it in the dream. Ah.
Yeah, I think you sort of clump it down, and you're looking at like Hex and Fam a bit for a reaction. Meanwhile, Sig is just like gone lavender, I guess would be like pale for him. He's gone lavender, and his eyes are wide, and he sort of makes a like chittering weird undersea noise.
And I think just to make you a little bit nervous, I start like probing with like picks and stuff into the glass claw. You know.
Stop! No, that is a sacred artifact. That is not what we do not poke at ancient relics. Get away! Get away! It's not for you.
Come on,
He just begins like babbling and cursing in abyssal.
Hexatroth just gets in on this by pulling out his book of forgotten language and just starts babbling in that too.
Apartment cat. What? I am not, and no one is. You would not. I don't think you're on the right page.
Oh, thank you. Hold on.
That's not how you say any of that. It's just nonsense.
Probably
Excuse
at
me,
some
but
point.
you're not the one who remembers this stuff. And he slams the book shut and puts it away.
At some point, your caterpillar accountant will roll in very slowly, bring a little book, and will write down 1 ring, 1 glass claw, and just kind of pushes it over for you guys to sign off on.
Ancient holy abyssal glass claw.
1 glass claw.
We've talked about this. We need more than 1 box for adjectives.
Ah.
You can't just apply 1 adjective to each. Things are complicated and have deep histories.
Ah, glass. And I think I pull out a different set of tool and make a scratch.
Nerd!
And I think I turn to Hex and I say, "This thing collected souls. Do you think it's safe enough to keep here?"
We're going to find out how exactly we can. I'm personally in the business of seeing if we can release whatever souls actually remain undigested by that thing.
But you cannot release the souls from their holy digestion. They're undergoing a metamorphosis where they will be cleansed of all of their. That is not.
They were literally buried and stolen from a graveyard. It's not like they were taken when they were alive. Some creature literally rolled up to their graves, and they probably begged for their souls to remain with their bodies before it literally devoured
holy
them.
proselytizer that was going out and trying to pick up and care after souls that couldn't speak for themselves. Anyways, this should be displayed to the faithless to cower them with awe so that they can know the futility of their very actions and lives.
No.
Well, It sounds like there's some debate there. Let's come back on deciding how you want to dispose of that and the ring, and so on. Let's do that rest so you can recover hit points. Does anyone else have any rest moves? Nope.
No, but I am going to use a bandage to heal myself.
Okay, yeah.
I have the dreams.
With the healing, are we also doing the level up?
Yes, absolutely. Level up.
Yay. Sam has learned from this encounter, and what was before an 8 wisdom now becomes a 9. What? Oh, really?
Put 2 and 2 together. That makes sense. And that's a stat a modifier break, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It takes me from -1 to a flat.
That is good. And what are you going to take move wise?
I have taken, which is hilarious because I have distaste, which causes me problems with people. I also have connections. When you put out word to the criminal underbelly about something you want or need, roll plus charisma, and it's kind of it's basically the going into the market move, which everyone has in Apocalypse World, but now I have it. That sounds
good to me. I like that one. It's a little more effective than the supply move.
Yeah.
I assume, Sig, that your holy scripts may be some inspiration coming from having witnessed this artifact.
I think so. Like maybe the first time he actually brings himself to touch it, there's a sort of communion and change that happens there.
That makes sense to me. And then Hexatroth is picking up Vicious Cacophony.
Yes, I am. I'm gonna, whenever I use the art to give them damage, they get a +2d4 instead of 1.
So Battle Bard, singing the battle songs. That is pretty awesome. And then tell me about this crystalline companion that you're adding, Turiel.
Yes. So this crystalline companion is named Aviel, and I think there's a twin. And I keep this crystalline companion. Mechanically, it is a +1 on going to spout lore. But I think narratively, what this is this is a pair of twin crystals. One is in the workshop, and one is with me.
Mm-hmm.
And they communicate back and forth to help feed me information as I spout lore. One name.
I like that. That sounds good to me. Let's do sort of a quick check-in scene with everybody, because Sig has a move. I'm not sure whether Fan wanted to deliver the ring or hold off or what. We'll kind of do that check-in here. But let's start with you, Sig. You've got that dreams move, right?
Yeah. I think rather than sort of normal rest that night, he will sort of set up and meditate in front of that glass claw with his tentacles down, sort of gently touching it. I think he's there sort of open-eyed, but his eyes are blank and glowing like an abyssal green.
Okay.
As he communes with the deep ones. So when you make an experience a dream of the future, ask the GM a question and roll plus wisdom. So this thing is like a piece. It's not a complete thing. So it must connect in some way to something or somewhere else. So I want to know like what this is a piece of, what it connects to, how I could find it, that sort of stuff.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So that'll be plus wisdom. Ooh, it's a 13.
Look at that.
So on a hit, the vision will answer the question, though mired in dream logic and strangeness. And on a 10+, I'll get a follow-up question.
I think that you will kind of pull back and have a vision of a battlefield, like it's both aquatic, there's water and open air, and you will see figures that you recognize as heroes with the capital H. There used to be a lot more of them around. They're super dangerous. Heroes are forces of destruction in the world. But you will see that there's definitely an army that is of your people. Squids and fish and crustaceans. All of those different sort of colors and things like that. Battling, and you will see a figure kind of stride forward from your side, and it's actually wearing like glass armor, and it has that glass like lobster hand on one, but I mean it's a humanoid like you, and that seems to be it's both a glove and a weapon. But you also see that there's a helmet and a breastplate, and like a wristband. Like there are several pieces, and you can tell that this is like a proto Templar. This is like a proto paladin of your people. And you will see that, and you can tell that it is made to deal with heroes. Like that's what it's about, is dealing with those sort of solitary, dangerous figures, because it does march out into the middle of it. And you can see that there are enchantments to protect it and all of that kind of thing. It's able to get into the middle of that group of heroes, and then it explodes. It sort of self-destructs, and you see the armor pieces go flying in different directions. But it just absolutely incinerates like these Orkari heroes that it kind of, got into the middle of. And you can tell that's what it's about. That's what it's for, is to cleanse those kinds of powerful people.
There's so much I want to ask. Okay. I think my follow-up question would be, because I'm a Templar of the Deep Ones. I'm not a full priest, but I have studied a lot, heard a lot of the legends and the holy scripts and whatever, and I've never heard of this thing. So it must be a sort of rarefied knowledge. I want to know who I could go to in Varkith who could lead me further, know more about this.
There's another one of your people named Ascending. He is a blind paladin. Essentially, there is a sort of temple / hostel for aged people of your race, who aren't yet ready to return to the sea. But so it's essentially like an old home, old folks' home for the God, what is the name of your people again? I've forgotten it right.
Visliga.
The Visliga. That there are some of your priests who are there and take care of them, but then also these Visliga who are there, are some of the accumulated wisdom. But Ascending, was for like one of the oldest sort of Templar paladins of your order.
And what's the name of that retirement temple?
Oh, it's the Temple of Convergent Armageddon.
Love it. It's the sort of universalist church of our people.
Exactly. They welcome all faiths, provided they're ready for the end times. So let me cut from that to Fam. Probably a lot of oil and peanut butter to get that out of your fur.
But I don't want to eat it. I don't understand. Well, I will go. We need to go to the bathhouse, I assume, and get all of that taken care of. And then once she feels somewhat presentable, Fam will head on to return to the guild their sigil, because that seems important. They might be happy with us. She would check in because of historical stuff. Hexatroth maybe might want to take a look at this thing. That would be something that the fam would do before handing it off for us to never see it again.
Okay.
So, yeah, fam will just walk over to Hexatroth now, clean, and drop the ring. This is a sigil. It's probably important. What do you know about it?
Sigil, huh? Well, let's roll and see what I do know about it.
Okay. So spout lore.
I don't think this follows my bardic lore, so I can't just ask a question.
Right.
So it's just a regular int roll.
Okay.
I'm gonna mark XP from that. Actually, no. I'm sorry. It's this. Am I looking at the right? Oh yeah. I'm gonna mark XP for that.
All right. Let me think. What's a good way to cut to this? I think that we might actually cut to a scene with somewhere else where we see Killick and she's talking with someone, and we see the shadowy, sinister figure, and it goes, "Did you get the ring back?" And Killick's like, you don't understand. There was this other guild, and there was this cat girl, and there was this egg-covered squid guy, and so on. And this figure goes, "I don't want your excuses. I want you to get that ring from them, even if it means war." And we'll cut from that scene. And you look at the ring, Hexatroth, it doesn't mean anything to you. It just looks like a fancy ring. Okay.
I'm afraid I don't know much about this guild's history, as much as I hate to say it. I'll have to study more on it later. And he hands it back. My apologies that I wasn't able to give you a clear answer on what you needed.
That's okay, Hex. Don't worry about it. I didn't know anything either. So we're actually on the same page.
All right, then. Well, then let's turn to another.
Well, I'm going to take it back now.
Very well. Very well.
We'll come back to do that scene. How's that sound, Rich?
Sounds good.
Hexatroth, is there anything you wanted to do in between? Did you want to examine the claw, or?
Yeah, so he's going to take it to Turiel and have Turiel specifically examine it with him, combining her knowledge of artifacts with his knowledge of the dead.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he would be able to ask a question from his bardic lore about a soul-sucking, a soul-devouring object. I think
Sure.
So I think if you don't mind, I'd like to set that up a little bit with
Sure.
Okay.
I think we start out with, Turiel comes in and finds Fam and Hex talking about the ring, and whispers, "We should look at the claw while we have a chance." And he kind of takes Fam over where Sig is sleeping, with the claw kind of wrapped around, and kind of says, "Do you think you can take it from him without him waking up?"
I'll take it.
Yeah.
They're like right there. Like right there. Just snag.
Okay.
And maybe that disturbs the dream a little bit. And then we can go. Yeah. Thank you for letting me interrupt. But yeah.
It's awesome.
So what is the bardic lore question that you would like before we go to any kind of spout lore roll?
Well, just like Sig said, there are so many questions I could ask here about this. But my immediate concern is, how can I release any undigested souls that remain within?
I'll tell you what. I'm going to give you a sort of a two-fronted answer to that.
Okay.
Off of that free question you get. One is that you can see, looking at this thing, how you would reach into the matrix of this thing. That you kind of have a sense of that for an item like this, how it pulls those in. You can kind of see the magical architecture of it, kind of look at that framework hovering there. You can see the pieces. But you'll also realize that it clearly, there's nothing left in here. It dragged out all that energy as it tried to resist that damage that was dealt to it. So it has been tapped out of whatever spirits might have been left in here.
I'd hope this would not be the case, but it seems we were too late. Despite the fact that this place that we went to had a ridiculous amount of burial spots, it seems that in the time that the creature resided down there, it had spent every single one of those souls.
Did anyone want to do the spout lore then on that?
Yeah, I think we'll leave that to Turiel, because Turiel is actually examining the object.
That makes perfect sense to me.
So I think whenever you say that all of the souls were sucked up and have now had been taken, I'll be like,
yeah,
Sig will be so happy.
I think Hexatrust will also explain the matrix mechanisms of it, how it lures the souls in and then dispatches their energies, their defenses. It takes down their defenses and then converts them into usable fuel for itself. So that'll sort of help you with that.
Okay.
Okay.
So I think I'm going to do I'd like to do a spout lore on this, and specifically,
Sure.
I'm looking for the connection between this entity that collects and eats souls and the Yim crystals that collect souls from another dimension.
So you're doing spout lore, or you're doing the let me see that move?
I think it's spout lore.
Okay.
I think that would be more what I'm looking for.
Sure. Perfect.
Okay. So I got a 9.
Can I assist?
Yeah. That seems reasonable. I think
Or
roll with
at the very
with
least,
int.
can my actually, at the very least, I would like to make a more generous request.
Okay.
Can the stuff I told Turiel about the Matrix give her a +1 forward to examining this?
Well,
Or is that too much to ask?
that'll be the fiction for your aid or interfere roll. I think that makes sense.
Okay. So aid with what stat, or what am I doing?
Int seems like the right one.
All right. That's a flat 10.
That's a flat 10. Look at that. So
Turiel, something interesting and useful.
So the question you have is what relation this bears to the Eam?
Yeah, so the Eam have a crystal that their soul resides in and keeps them safe from that other magical location where they exist.
Mm-hmm.
And this seems to be doing something similar with souls. Maybe along the lines of this might be a proto version of that crystal where the mages got it from to begin with, or something like that. That's
sure. I think one of the things is about the crystals that you work with have a deep structure, a deep matrix.
Mhm.
Like, you know how when snow falls, when snowflakes fall, you know, it's just that little bit of grit that crystalline matrix builds up around.
Mhm.
And that's how you work. I mean, there's a crystal, but there's something sort of at the center that's a little bit off that allows you to kind of anchor into it. This thing is like that, but it's more pure. It's a transfer device. It's a transitional. It's like a siphon for that kind of thing.
Mm.
And the thing that strikes you, and you hadn't noticed this before, I mean, this is clearly not your matrix, but you're kind of amazed at the parallel developments. Like this has the feel of the Visliga sort of magics and workings. And while they never reached your level, they certainly had developed some old interesting things that, if they'd pressed further on this, would have been kind of dangerous for you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Then let's come back. Let's do FAM, and then let's figure out where the group is going. Does that seem fair? I'll check in and see if anybody else has anything else they want to do before we kind of move on. FAM, where do you think you find Mouse and company?
I think it would be cool if they were to be found at like a tavern of some kind. I don't think we've had any tavern scenes, and it's Dungeon World. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, they're in one of those taverns that's almost like, you know how you have the weird sort of all the neighborhood shops and things around here. This is the tavern that all the shopkeepers and guilds people go to on their off hours, kind of thing. It's a real neighborhood bar.
Oh, it's very pub like. Then,
yeah.
All right.
There's a guild that runs it, of course.
Well, I'd hope so.
They greet you. There's a magic thing when you come in that says your name. It goes FAM. Nobody says it, but the magic thing does that when you come in. If you've been there before and said your name, it records it for that. So they've got that to make you feel at home.
That is great.
What kind of alcohol does FAM drink? Does she?
FAM likes to drink like very sweet wines.
Okay.
I'm not good with alcohol, but
like a sweet plum wine or something like that, or a mead made of honey.
Oh, a mead. A mead sounds good. Yeah, that was the word I was actually trying to think of. So yeah.
Milk.
Steven, that's great. A milk chaser.
A milk chaser, yeah. Little fermented milk chaser. It's got that kind of hair of the dog that bit you, so to speak. There's probably one of these Dorve waiters that comes up. They know your order, and they hand you the glass of mead and the little shot glass of milk. And you'll see Mouse and some of her other guildmates sort of commiserating, over some ale in the back corner. Of course, there's a sinister, shadowy figure in this corner over here, with the hood up and stuff. But that's an illusion.
Do you have an exclamation point above this?
Yes, exclamation point. That's an illusion. They have to have that.
They have to.
Yeah.
You just hire someone to sit in the corner.
Oh, absolutely. It's your turn to sit in the corner today.
Here's the cloak. All right. Cool. FAM is very excited because this was successful and not that terrible, and I don't think anyone died. So I think that FAM has put the ring on a little thong on the neck there. There's no cleavage or anything showing because FAM wears the high shirt. And after getting the drink and the chaser, we'll tail twitching saunter over to Mouse and her compatriots.
And kind of walk up and they're, oh, what are we going to do? We got the new place. Blah, blah, blah. And then one of them, seated across, one of those kind of dominates the table because he's super tall. This is one of those Halarths. They're the sort of insect kind of looking people. They've got 4 arms, but 2 of them are kind of vestigial. And he's like, "Oh, where did you get that?"
Oh, this puts the drinks down, slides into is it a booth or
yeah, I'm gonna say a booth. Booth sounds good.
Slides into the booth, reaches and pulls it over. Her ears kind of tuft forward a little bit as she pulls it off and drops it onto the table. I had to go to a bakery to find this.
And everyone's just watermelon cantaloupe, watermelon cantaloupe. They're all muttering there, and he's like, "I don't know if you know this." And Mouse is doing this. "I don't know if you know this, but we've been looking for that."
Well, this looks like a sigil. It looks kind of silvery.
You might understand, but that is actually a sigil of our guild.
Look to Mouse. Is it?
She goes, this is Fam. She's a friend, and I spoke with her the other day, and I told her about our situation, and she and her guild retrieved the ring for us." And this Halareth's like, "Oh, his mind is blown." You have the sense that he's mostly a legalist, like a lawyer type. So any of these other things kind of throw him. He's like,
"I mostly deal with torts."
No. Yes. And he will say, "You have done us an enormous favor, an enormous service." And he will reach in to his little bag at the side, and you hear the clink as he clearly goes through, and he will pull out this little red jade marker. It looks like almost like a domino, and it has a couple of sigils on it. And he will also reach over and pulls out a purse, and he will put them both on the table for you.
Oh, very nice. Fam doesn't immediately even though the instinct is snatch and run, Fam will leave it there and just calmly drink the mead and then chase the little thimbleful of milk and say, "Well, the Night Gallery is more than happy to help a Frict and Silver in your attempts to get back on." Really? I've never heard that before.
It's a Frict and Sliver. Just small. It's a
sliver. Sliver. That's weird because I've always said silver. Everyone says silver.
What?
Oh, no. That's quite all right. A Frict and Sliver.
You can't hear me, right?
Yeah. I just now heard you.
Yeah.
Oh, weird. Thank you.
Oh. And he says, "I am Sliver." That's why.
I that's why you would know.
Yes. Well, we will keep the Twilight Gallery in mind for your service, and take our marker and this coin in repayment for your service.
Oh, thank you very much. And also, we of the Night Gallery share your eternal enmity for the worshipful company of fetchers.
Well, that is good. That is good. We will keep that in mind. We have been beset by them, but we hope to regain our territory soon.
Good. If there is anything that I could do to help you regain that territory from the foul guild, let me know.
Okay. And there's some talk that says we are still formulating our plans.
Good
So
luck.
we'll come back to you.
Oh, very well. And then she'll kind of kick back, expecting that they will buy her more mead.
Oh yeah, they'll buy you rounds of drinks,
and then
At
try to
some
get
point
tipsy.
They do.
Oh,
Mouse kind of doesn't want to, but she'll say, "So, can you tell us the story of how you got it back?"
Oh, she will launch into that tale with no shame whatsoever. It's an amazing tale as far as it was totally successful. As they talk about the bakery and everything, like all of it. And so I pretended that I was the mistress, and I came through the ring. Meanwhile, Sigliglick was up there proselytizing, tentacles everywhere. There was the thing where I fell into the big bowl of, I would not get any, there will probably be hair in the bread for the next few weeks. I would just recommend that you don't get any bread from that.
People push the loaf and the table away.
Yeah, she tells the whole story with leaving nothing out, because this is a very exciting day and 100% successful. With no failure whatsoever or
none whatsoever. So yeah, so the mechanical effect is that on we've got that you've got a marker, and the coin purse is essentially a coin for your guild.
Cool.
So that's a significant chunk of money that they've given you.
Sweet. And then I'm going to put a note here. We have a marker. I'm going to put that in the guild moves thing.
It is under marker. Somebody's already put that in there for you.
Oh, well, awesome. You guys are better than me. Yay.
Although they spelled it sliver. So.
What?
Sorry, mistyped there.
So
no one's ever said that before. It's so exciting. Sorry.
What's the name of this tavern?
Oh, we'll call it the Blue Monkey's Uncle.
Blue Monkey's Uncle. So it's probably run by a freed one then, right?
Yeah.
Blue Monkey freed one.
Or people really racist against Orkari. One or the other.
Oh, God.
Both of those answers are sufficient and exciting to me.
All right. I suppose one of the things worth noting is that it's a frequent spot for Sliver, the head of the guild.
Yes.
Ooh, good point. Good point.
So any means of contacting him might involve that, going to that place.
And we can put Sliver on the people list too, so we have them on there. So how would you like to proceed? Do we want to do another individual scene, or is there preference to bring people together to talk about what your next step is? How would you like to proceed?
I wouldn't mind a brief scene with Turiel.
Okay. So let's do that. I like doing player and player scenes.
I think it's basically Sig comes and finds you because you have like a workshop area in the guild place, don't you?
Yes. Yeah.
So he comes in and finds you there, and he's got the claw. It's obviously the claw. It's wrapped up in like protective cloths and stuff. And he says, "I've been meditating upon it, and I know that you have greatly desired a chance to examine this, and I know you haven't had a chance to. So I have some questions, and I thought it would be appropriate that under proper supervision and no more to stop scraping things, perhaps you could try and see. It doesn't seem to be functioning right now, and you're supposed to put it on, and it's sort of a armor, punchy, rebuke souls, convert the unbelievers into ashes and stuff. But that sort of thing. And so I was wondering if you could take a look at it."
Oh, thank you. I greatly appreciate this. I think on the workbench there's like crystal dust or glass dust, and maybe like a little piece of it that's been chipped off and that kind of thing, and kind of moves that out of the way a little bit and
that's weird. What was that?
Sets it down and kind of unwraps it and kind of looks at it a little bit and starts poking and prodding, and then pulls out a crystal and touches it, and the crystal glows a little bit, and looks at it, kind of sort of faking what's going on here. Yeah. Oh, that's very interesting. Look.
Oh, does it mean something when it's blue like that?
It means something very interesting. Look.
Oh, yes, that's fascinating. I've rarely seen that sort of reaction, but I, of course, know what's... But if you could just, in your own words...
Do you want something out of this?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, like, if you can determine if it can be powered / used on its own, or if it's something that requires all the other pieces, that sort of thing. If there's some power you can activate in it in its current state.
Right. So I think what I'm going to do, given what I've already learned about this, and that it is dangerous to my people, I'm going to tell Sig, well, it looks like what this would do is it is a vast healing object that would help people, possibly even restore them from life so that their souls could go on to a better place and would heal the harm within the world.
Interesting.
This is a complete lie. Is there a role for that?
I think player versus player, you guys kind of decide how you want to resolve that.
Right.
I'm okay leaning into it just because I've been leaning into Fam's lies so much. I think it's sort of a thing for Sig.
Okay.
I think he's sort of gullible, or at least doesn't understand inflection in your stupid dryland tongue.
Dryland tongue. That is great.
So say that's rather esoteric. It's less directly useful than I had been hoping. Perhaps I'll have to meditate on how best to build this sort of healing and restorative. Maybe you got your translations wrong. I'll consider it.
I think that would be a good idea. It might help save your soul and prevent it from being destroyed.
Well, my soul is it's the other people's souls that I'm much more concerned about.
Oh, I know. It might help you help them find inner peace as well.
Yes. Well, it's daily meditation time. I have to go. That's enough. Thank you very much for your help.
You're welcome. I'm so glad you came to see me with this.
Yes, I'm sorry I get agitated around spiritual matters, but I find it very touching that I have such trustworthy guildmates that are willing to share their expertise in my holy search for truth.
And I think Turo writes down a note after Sig leaves, writes some information down to send to the Yem Guild, that there is danger, from the, I've forgotten what your race is called again.
Visliga.
Yeah, from the Visliga. They were pursuing something that could potentially be used as a weapon against our people. Be careful. Yeah.
It makes sense,
That's
especially
amazing.
because you, as an EM, you don't have any sense of time, and even though this is centuries ago, you probably regard it as a present thing.
Yeah.
Hex, is there any interactions or scenes you want to do? Kind of a little bit of sideline for you. So, NPCs or PCs you want to talk to?
Yeah, I think funnily enough, I think just also at the end of the conversation, Hex would just be he was examining it with Terrell. He would just come up. He was like, "Oh, here's the coffee you ordered, by the way." Just come back, and so it's everything good.
Yeah, I think everything's great.
All right, cool. So I'm gonna go talk to the guy's name that I can't spell, so I just call him Sig. Sig.
Okay. So where do you find Sig?
Hexatroth probably figured that he would find him in his room meditating or something like that. But he sort of finds him just on the way there because he wasn't far off when he left.
One of those sort of, whoa, oh, there you are, kind of. Okay.
So yeah, I think he's got the bundle under one arm of the wrapped up claw.
Wait, me or you?
He does. Yeah.
Listen, Sig. I've been thinking about the claw.
Seems common.
Yeah, although neither of us, we both know this is not the usual protocol, I figured that perhaps we could put this under the not for sale in terms of artifacts.
I was considering. Damn it, names. What's our caterpillar guy?
Lonsdale.
Lonsdale. I was considering talking to Longsdale about taking it out of my future checks.
Yeah, I don't think that works like that. Sorry.
That's definitely how it works. That's why we have guild rules and charters. You got to buy that staff.
Excuse me? Do you see me carrying a staff?
I think that's a fictional thing he's establishing there as a.
Oh, okay.
What is your point, Hexatroth?
My point is that both of us have interest in this claw, and neither of us wants it going anywhere out of our sights. So the point is that we leave it here, where we both have equal access, as well as everyone else in the guild.
Perhaps experts could study, but everyone in the building, there's
Experts?
a janitor that comes through. Molly really shouldn't be allowed to touch anything glass.
And Turiel?
Well, Turiel has already helpfully taken an examination. Perhaps there will be a follow-up.
So then what more information do you need like that? I mean, surely there is more information, mind you, but you're telling me that we have no one capable. Clearly, we left it with someone capable in terms of examination.
I'm saying don't leave it out on the table where anyone in the guild can just come mess with it. You're saying anyone. It's not everyone. It's just very select, important people.
Well, of course. I'm saying only those who are authorized.
Perhaps sign a document first.
More paperwork. So tell me, this is a good question. This is what I want to ask you. We've established that when you come into the guild hall, there's the alcoves that kind of display wares and things like that. Mm-hmm. We've got the back room stuff. What kind of vault do you have for storing, more important objects that you don't want released out into the world? Is it a stone? Is it a metal? Is it in the ground? Is it above ground? Let's start with you, Hex. What? Give me the general sense of what this vault is like.
I would say that the vault was made with each of our talents in mind, and each of us contributing to its security. So for Hexatroth, he would have had souls that volunteered to guard the place after he solved their afterlife grudges and problems and enlisted them in the service. So someone who was trying to say get to the vault, which is somewhere underground, would sort of find themselves being pulled by spirits and lured away.
Okay. I like that. The sense Fam knows locks, right? That kind of thing. And we've got crystalline stuff. Sig, tell me what the actual... How big a vault is? What's a physical? We now know it's underground. What is the vault? What does it look like? Is it a walk-in room? Is it a small thing? Is it a big thing?
I think it's like getting down into the bedrock of the city. So it's sort of carved cave structure sort of thing.
Okay.
But I think like it would be we go after ancient and rare magical artifacts.
Mm-hmm.
These would be things that we don't feel like selling to the public / want to keep for ourselves / are too dangerous to figure out what to do with right now. So I think that sort of they bleed over and affect this vault. So I think the size changes, the sort of dimensionality of it changes as these powerful magical fields interact with each other.
I like that the kind of shifting each. I mean, what's kind of locked in place is the traps and locks and things that you've set.
And it's always a sort of cave structure setup, but
okay.
it shifts and morphs.
So there's like sort of a room that's affected by the magic items, and that itself is its own danger in a way.
I like that. And I like that we established in the fiction that essentially that we will say, you four are the only ones that have access to it as sort of the senior guild people. So that seems fair on that. So those facts are established. Do we want to go to discussion about next order? Do you want to go to a guild turn, or do you want to do something individual? What do you think? Let's start, Rich. Let's ask you. What do you think would be a good direction for us to head here?
Let's do some guild turn stuff. That's fun and different.
Is good with that? Okay. Then
Yeah, I feel like we like really played out some of the stories that came out of it last time. So I'm curious to see how the world responds.
Okay. So this means we're actually gonna take 5. You guys can take a break because I've got to generate the stuff here real quick. So give me 5 minutes and then we'll come back. Okay.
Okay.
Hey, Rich.
Hey, Steven.
I have to admit, I appreciate all the stuff that you guys are doing for the new Patreon supporters. Having them be able to join, without everybody, piling in, which is kind of nice. So.
Yeah, it's scary, right? Because one of my games didn't fill immediately. I'm like, wait a second, I have to wait. Oh man, this is not good. Am I not as popular as I thought I was? Oh, this sucks. But then I reminded people, hey, I did post a game. They're like, oh, fine, whatever. I'll try this since I can't get into Cordova's.
Well, I have to admit, I've been able to play, like, your Star Wars Saturday games are great for me. They're the perfect time, but I haven't been able to get into any of those since the first one. So, yeah.
Oh, thanks. I was joking around. I think it's the right call. I think there have been people who've joined in the last time we had a big push, and I didn't see any of them in games for a while. I think it's tough,
Mm-hmm.
I think Owl needs to run more games, really, is what I'm saying.
3 nights a week, dude. 3 nights a week.
Yeah,
I think it took me a long... Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, I feel like that's 4 nights that you're not running games.
That's exact. I mean, you're running a minority. That's not even the majority of the week where
dude,
you are
I run
games.
two face-to-face games each week as well. So that's 5 nights.
That doesn't benefit the Gauntlet, Lowell. So I don't really think that's germane to this discussion.
So that's still 2 nights that you're not running games for people.
So
and
you're capable of running 2 more games.
Are you so selfish that you're not willing to like double stack on 1 or 2 of those days?
You magnificent bastards. All right.
So before we,
I can't see how you guys can manage to run as many games as you do. It's insane.
I've actually been taking it really light in July, and it's been amazing. It's like a vacation from. I'm only running like 1.5 games a week. It's so good. It's so good. Quick thing that I needed to tell you about, Lowell. I don't know if you are aware of this podcast, but you talking about the B-52s and Rock Lobster means I have to tell you about it. It's called Hit Parade. Have you heard of this?
I think I've vaguely heard of it.
I may have thrown it your way. So they just did a 2 episode. It comes out like once every other week, but mostly like once a month. Really good. It's a guy who writes for Slate, who does music review stuff. And Hit Parade, what he'll do is a deep dive, like 45 minutes to an hour long, where he'll talk about why this song was #1 at this particular time. And he talks about what was going on in the popular culture at the time and where that musical artist came from, what their influences were, what style of music was starting to come up. And he just did a 2-shot on groups from Athens. And so it was about primarily the B-52s, but also talked about REM and the crossover between the 2 groups. It's amazing.
I'll have to listen to that. I remember that era, and when there was actually an album that came out with just Athens bands, that kind of was a really interesting cross section of that. Of course, on cassette tape.
Yeah, right. But it's super good. Hit Parade.
Hit Parade. Okay.
It's the one podcast that I can't listen to by myself because my wife is like, "You want to listen to it?" So it's the one podcast we listen to together.
All right. So right now, I think you're going to get another coin. So you guys are going to be at 4 coin. We'll come back to that in a second because you get your guild coin. Let's look at the guild moves. So I go with the larger guilds go first. I tell you what they do, what's going on with that. And then you on the other guilds, we can decide who you want to reveal or what you want to do with your actions. So one of the things is you have the sense that the Artist Collective, they're one of the ones that attacked the multitude last time. They seem to be more expansionist than you would have expected. Like they're clearly pressing out. They had some beef with the multitude, and we had the multitude push back, and they performed that ritual. Well, it now looks like the Artist Collective are maybe moving their sights, and because Ifrict and Sliver are kind of on their heels, you hear rumor that they are are asking around. They're putting money into people's pockets to try and find things out. You guys know them. Maybe you could sell your info, sell those guys down the river, to the Artist Collective. They could probably pay a good coin for that. I don't hear anybody excited about it, but there we go. The Sisterhood of the Forge, and I'll put this in parentheses to show that it's is performing a ritual. You will hear that they are they're those smiths, that they are working on a big object, like a big artifact thing. And that's probably part of what Atelier Sonny was getting some stuff for them. Not exactly sure what the ritual is yet, but that's out we're in the streets, Sisterhood of the Forge, like they pulled back a lot of their artisans, and they are working on a project. That may relate to the fact that last time they were, poking at the Artist Collective, like they were trying to figure out. So might be something related to that. And then the other thing that you will hear, word on the street, is that the law keepers are pushing around looking for info on you guys, like trying to turn people that to get info. And when an NPC does that versus that, it is a unopposed roll. Essentially, that they've talked to your friends, they've talked to your enemies, they probably talked to the worshipful company of fetchers, and you're not sure exactly why that's happening, what drew their attention, what has made them a little nervous about you guys.
It certainly wasn't that unscheduled demolition that we tricked them into paying for.
Well, there is that, the unscheduled demolition, and the word about the bakery thing and some powerful magical objects that you may have recovered. That's out in the wind. So the next question is, do you want to take one of your actions, or do you want me to reveal the actions of one of the other guilds? Patrick?
And we only get one action, right?
Well, you get one action, but you can spend a coin to take an additional action.
That's it. Okay.
And you guys actually have some pretty good coin right now.
Not sure, because we've got, like, from last time, we've got following up on the inroads that we'd made with the multitude and maybe trying to get something more concrete out of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm definitely not comfortable with the law keepers looking into us because they're jerks.
So what kind of things could we do to impact the law?
So if we look at the guild sheet, the guild moves that you have: violently attack, seize territory through force, collect information, discern strengths and weaknesses, strike a deal with them, interfere with them, and then you've got a couple that are more sort of untargeted: perform a ritual or manipulate the legal system.
Okay, so we actually have that as well because we interfered with the Artist Collective last time, so we have a +1 forward against them if we wanted to do something there to follow up.
That is correct.
And something that the law keepers might appreciate is manipulating the legal system, but we could interfere with them coming after us or something like that. Would one of these moves fit for feeding them false information?
Yeah, I think that would be interfere.
Oh, okay.
I think that we can essentially do the fiction of that would be for you to essentially give them false information. Does that seem like a fair thing?
Yeah. I was going to say my only concern with, because I do think the interfere fits with a lot of what's going on here, but my only concern there is that we don't fall into a thing of just constantly doing interfere and never following up on the benefits or the setups that it's supposed to be giving us.
It's a good question. The other thing I'll tell you about your coin is you can spend 4 coin to permanently raise a guild stat by 1.
Oh.
How do we raise our guild status from 1 to 2?
Well, it'll be when your total stats are up another level is what will be when you get up to there. There's a break point. I think it's 3 and 4 is the next one, or let me see here. Corporation. The next thing is a total of +4 in stats. So you'd have to go up +2 total in your stats.
Yeah, I feel like we should not spend it right away, because I feel like if we upgrade ourselves, we should have at least 1 coin left for any endeavors that we want, just so we don't end up flat broke.
Yeah.
Well, let's maybe check in with some of the other guilds and see what they did then before we make that decision, Patrick.
I was just going to ask, how much exactly does it take to do extra actions?
It is 1 coin for an extra action, and it is 4 coins to permanently raise your stat.
Okay. Yeah, let's see at least what the multitude does, but it might be interesting to do and interfere with the law keepers and then immediately follow up with a collect information on them. That might be a cool path to follow.
Sure. So you will see that in order to try and shore up their interest after the attack, the multitude reaches out to the law keepers. Because, of course, the law keepers are protectors, things like that. And so they're very clearly trying to make it so that the law keepers want to protect them. They're presenting their business stuff. They're offering info. They're offering an alternative to the Info4 information network, that kind of thing. So that's probably part of how they're getting some of the information on you guys. Rich, do you want to see somebody?
Yeah, let's see what those stupid fetchers are doing this time around.
Okay. So there's a lot of, by the way, there's a lot of collect info on this particular move set. They are probably because the multitude was weakened by those previous assaults, they are doing that preliminary poking and prodding, hiring people to get information before they move to discern weaknesses. They want to get the shape of it and know sort of what's going on with them. And sort of the difference is collect info is sort of very general, more about what's happening, and then discern strength and weaknesses is very much a prelude to an attack kind of thing. Does that make sense? Ruben?
All right. So I do like Patrick's suggestion that we sort of collect info on the law keepers while also interfering. I think that is a decent expenditure of a coin.
What do you guys think about that? This is one of those things where I want to get everybody's approval on that.
I'm into it.
Are we limited to one
works.
coin that we can spend for an extra action, or could we spend multiple coin for additional actions?
You could spend multiple coins for additional actions, but what I would do is resolve one.
Yes.
So that would help shape your next thing. So collect info seems to be the starting point for that.
I think interfere so we could get a potential bonus on the collect info.
Oh, that makes sense to me.
And stop them from learning about us.
Okay, so I'm going to put that in here. Am I right? Sure.
So did you have an idea about how we're interfering? Are we actually feeding them false information, or are we actually trying to implicate whatever that other guild was that was helping them out?
It's an interesting question. Let's see what the role is, and then let's roll into what the fiction provides us.
Okay.
So to interfere, you're going to roll influence. So Ruben, let's have you roll 2d10 and add, I believe it is 1.
2d10. We are doing that brand
Oh,
new
geez.
system.
No, I'm sorry. 2d6.
Yeah.
Why did I say
As well-
these guys?
What? Okay.
Roll 3d8. It's open-ended. They explode.
That's a 9, but it turns into a 10 because our influence is +1.
Perfect. So, so you do frustrate them, and on a 10 plus, you've got a +1 on going against them.
I'm going.
Yeah. So if you did multiple moves against them, you would get bonuses on all of them.
Mhm.
So yeah, tell me. You did the roll. So let me ask. I'm going to ask each of you. Stephen, what's one thing that you guys do to interfere with the lawkeeper's efforts?
Yeah, so I think that the first is to feed some false information to whoever that other guild was that was starting to, I think it was the Fetchers.
Mm-hmm.
So we seed some false information in through the Fetchers. So the Fetchers, so that the lawkeepers don't have as much information, real information about us as they thought.
Make up stories about the bugbear, things like that. Spread that out there. Okay, that makes sense. Patrick, what's another way that you guys interfere with them?
I think Molly has a lot of like bureaucratic / secretarial friends, connections. Paperwork is very safe for
Administrative assistant.
Exactly. I'm so sorry. It's not my first language, you understand. But I think she has a connection with someone in like where you would need to go to get a demolition approved, and she manages to pull some favors, a little bribery to get like that demolition date post ordered, so that when the lawkeepers go in to dig into that end of it, it looks like it was all legal and set up beforehand.
Okay, that sounds good. Rich, what's another way that you interfere with that gathering of info?
The Frict and Sliver do some chicanery. Like, it's not a full-on move, but of legalese, but they throw a few wrinkles towards the lawkeepers. So.
Okay. So we got all that out on the streets. That has stopped them. They're not going to get any info or any advantage on you. If they were planning on coming after you, and they don't know what's going on. They don't know what's up with the Twilight Gallery. Does that seem fair, Ruben?
Yeah. Although the would it be like sort of the false information eventually sort of culminates to a point where they realize something's wrong with our informants? Like, they realize that they're getting true information and mixed with false information, and sort of collides to a point of confusion.
Yeah.
Where they have to stop. They're like, wait a minute, we need to reevaluate everything. We need to start from scratch.
Yeah, they've wasted time and resources on this, which are hugely valuable to the guilds. So that makes sense. Stephen, do you want to see one of these guilds that we haven't seen, or what would you like?
Let me look at the guilds that we haven't seen.
Haven't seen Bonehaven, who you guys don't like, the Zoological Society, or Ifrict?
Yeah, I'd like to see the Zoological Society.
Okay. Let's see. Let me find their thing. There we go. So they are actually discerning strengths on Ifrict. Poor Ifrict is sort of the victim here right now. Zoological Society attacked the multitude last time. They're clearly also on that sort of expansionist way, and they kind of got pushed back on. So they are picking around the edges, probably coming to you guys asking for info, and like not the kind of general questions, but so do you know anything about their lair? Do you know anything about the way in? You know, who would be a person that could get turned. Those kinds of questions are going out there from them.
Okay.
Patrick, I come back to you.
I think we can use some of those same connections and misinformation channels to figure out what's going on with the lawkeepers and why they're what's motivating them to come after us.
Okay. So you've got +1 ongoing, and you want to collect info, or do you want to go straight to discern strengths and weaknesses?
My inclination would be to go cautiously and start with collect info, but does anyone else think that we're setting up for an outright move against the lawkeepers?
I think that's. I think information is probably wiser than going head in. We know they're a bigger guild than we are, so I'm a fan of info.
Yeah. Also, their interest in attacking us might be stemming from another guild that's calling upon their help. So, I think collecting information could be the wisest choice. I agree.
Okay. So that's plus senses +1.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, Jesus. 3, 4, 5.
5.
Oh my.
Now you can take that 5. You could spend 2 coin to get that up to a 7. Or you could leave that 5 alone on the table.
That's... Oh, I see.
Yeah, you know what? I think everybody gets to mark XP on that, on a guild fail. Let's put that rule in place because it's a shorter game.
What do people think? That would probably eat up our ability to do any other actions this time.
I would rather take a fail than turn that into a minor, my only downside to it is we don't have any leads other than this. So if a fail doesn't give us any information whatsoever.
Well, it is sort of interesting. On a miss, you get word of another guild making dangerous moves in your direction without any time to prepare before they strike. So there is still information that comes out of it.
Okay, we'll take that.
Okay. I'm going to tell you what that is right now.
Sweet.
And that is, as you're kind of going out on the street, collect information, you'll hear, hey, what did you guys do to the Worshipful Company of Fetchers? Because like they got a bunch of people and I'm hearing that they're going to raid your place. Like they're going to take out your people like today. And I think we've got some other guild move things and some stuff, but we're going to stop there. We'll take the tail end of the guild move thing. I think that's a great place for us to kind of pause, do our end of session XP stuff, but know that next time we're starting out with the Worshipful Company of Fetchers coming after you guys, and we'll go to a guild war next time.
We'll still be in the middle of guild phase and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, we'll kind of pause that. We'll come back. We'll finish out those things after that. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So mechanically, how does it work if you fail a roll during the guild move or guild section?
I don't think it gives anybody in the rules. It doesn't give anybody XP, but I like giving you guys XP.
So bad stuff just happens.
Bad stuff just happens.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's go to those end of session questions. Did you learn something new and important about the world?
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah. Did you overcome a notable monster or enemy?
Yes.
Yes.
Did you loot memorable treasure?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
3 XP from that. Patrick, let's talk flags.
Let's do. So I think Fam at the very least managed to hit my first and third flags of mispronouncing, and there was certainly still trouble I had to help her out of.
Right.
It wasn't even just the same trouble. Like, you found fresh new troubles for me to help you out with. It was very refreshing.
It's like a baker's dozen of trouble.
Yes. Oh. 13 troubles.
And I was going for Turiel's ask me to fix something that is broken, and / examine an important arcane object.
Perfect. So that's 2 points. Fam, what about you?
Oh, and then my my alignment.
Oh, your alignment. Thank you.
Which is in a place. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. Endanger yourself to protect someone weaker than you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Fam, what about you? Did you hit others or have others hit yours?
Well, it was tough to hit Hexatros. I actually, because there's history of a place, but I asked about the item, try to give to link.
I
think that's perfect.
I thought it was a hit, honestly.
Yeah.
Cool. And
I think you lifting the glass claw counts as your last flag.
Yeah, that was definitely a thing where Turiel hit my
that was good.
Point out a treasure that's forbidden. Yeah, and man, I really need. So let's just. I really want a scene with Turiel next session. Like,
okay,
remind me of that. I want to carve out time for that because I have thoughts in my brain, and it's just we haven't brought it on screen yet. And this is much on me. But I just wanted to highlight it. That's it. Of course, Sig's names, but I think I hit the getting into trouble more than that.
Yeah,
those are the flags I hit.
That seems fun. And you know, one of the things we'll do next time before we do the Guild Wars, I'll check in because we got the 2 sessions to see if there's anything you guys definitely want, like stuff we definitely want to see because we kind of ran to the time here, but I'll do that check in at the start of next session. Hex, what about you?
Oh, I'm sorry. And alignment leap danger without a plan.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You literally leapt.
So
X.
For Hexatroth, I would say yes. Fam hit my ask me about history of a place. I specifically went for for Turiel's ask me to examine an important object or artifact.
Yep.
When I did that with Turiel, so I think I hit that. Did I?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So that's mostly what it was.
And your alignment.
Yes. Also my alignment, which was perform your art to aid someone else.
Definitely.
Pretty much in every way I could.
Yeah. Good support play. Lastly, Turiel.
So yeah, I tried to hit the Hex's, help me unearth hidden lore, and Fam's, point out a treasure that's forbidden. And I think people hit my examine an arcane object. So, and then my alignment is loot a forgotten piece of technology. So I think the claw counts as that.
Yeah, that seems fair. That seems like a good way to since we kind of talked about it in tech terms. So yeah.
Yeah. And I noticed I think everyone else leveled except for me, but I succeeded on all of my rolls. So I like that balance. So
one of the things, XP on a miss.
Yes.
The great debate rages on. Thank you all very much. Again, we'll start out with Guild War, checking in with everybody next time. If you have questions or things you want to talk about, feel free to hit me up between sessions, and I am going to stop the broadcast.